10 different protein supplements slash snacks from 10 different companies. Why? Because I hate wasting my money on garbage, and I'm sure you do too, so let me save your pockets. Now, the reason protein supplements and snacks are so popular is because of how many people struggle to get the appropriate amount of protein throughout the day, which is extremely important, by the way. Funny enough, protein supplements are way more popular amongst the male population, but the female population is the most in need. Why? Well, it's because over half the female population doesn't consume the appropriate amount of protein they should throughout the day. I don't make the statistics, I just read them. You're not building that booty without the appropriate amount of protein. I'm just saying. So while the majority of your protein should come from whole and natural food sources, let's explore some of these snacky wackies. Now, all of these supplements come in lots of different flavors, but I picked the flavors that sounded the most appealing to me amongst all the brands, so that way I'm not biased as we move through these. Today we're looking for quality, or how edible these snacks actually are, nutrition profile, which is the most important, and flavor. Now, as far as price goes, all of these protein snacks were anywhere from $1.50 up to $3, depending on which one you buy. Note, that's individual packages, not a whole box of them. As far as nutrition profile goes, we're not going to dive too deep into these bars and snacks outside of the calories and macronutrients and sugars. But with that said, let's get into it. First off is going to be our Clif Bar, and we got that in white chocolate macadamia nut. Go ahead and crack her open. Off rip, honestly, it looks pretty moist. It smells really good. Peek at that baddie right there. Let's give it a taste. Sneak in a little bit of ASMR action for you guys. This is actually pretty good. Nice and moist, doesn't leave my mouth crazy dry, and for the most part, not too much chewing going on. As far as quality or how edible it is, I'm gonna go with an 8 out of 10. We're starting off pretty strong. And as far as flavor goes, I'm also gonna go 8 out of 10. Next, we got Lenny and Larry's Complete Cookie. Now, something to pay attention to for you people that don't look at serving sizes, this cookie is actually 2 servings. So that's something you need to keep in mind as you're calculating the nutrition profile for this cookie. Personally, I've never had these, but I hear pretty good things about them, and people like that they're plant-based. Plant-based things don't really matter to me all that much. I enjoy meat.
You what?
Off rip, looks pretty good, outside of the fact that I brutally murdered the bag. All right, here's our first bite. I'm not gonna lie, off the first second of the first bite, you can kind of taste the wrapper that they put it in. It's pretty dry, not horrible, but pretty dry. As far as flavor goes, it's pretty good. As far as quality goes and how edible it is, I'm gonna give it a solid 7 out of 10. But for flavor, I'll do 8 out of 10. Up next, we have our Met RX bar, Big 100 Vanilla Caramel Churro. Sounds like a really good combination of flavors. Now, this one's advertised as a meal replacement bar, not necessarily just a protein supplement. Crack this bad boy open. First bite. Initial impression, a lot harder than the last 2, but only for that first bite. It gets pretty soft pretty fast. As far as flavor goes, that's really good. Surprisingly, there was nowhere near as much chewing as I thought there would be. And it's pretty moist. I think a lot of that comes from the glaze or the icing. I could easily finish this. As far as quality goes, I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10. As far as flavor goes, easy 9 out of 10. Most delicious so far. Next, we have our No BS RX bar. The flavor is coconut chocolate. Off rip, I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't look very good.
Look!
Go ahead and get a nice good view of that. It looks like a hardened dog food bar. But don't judge off looks, it could be really good. It smells like chocolate and the lumber section in Home Depot. First bite. Okay, really sticks to your teeth. Not terrible. As far as flavor goes, I don't know if I could call this good though. It tastes like chocolate flavored sawdust. But if you're into sawdust, that's great. As far as quality goes, it's pretty moist. It didn't take a ridiculous amount of chewing. It does really stick to your teeth, but out of all the supplements here, it's probably the most natural, so a little better for you. As far as flavor goes though, I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 10. I definitely don't plan on buying another one of these. Next on the list, we got good old Quest bars. We got us some chocolate chip cookie dough. You hear that? That's what 1 gram of sugar sounds like. Crack that thing open. Smells like chocolate. At first appearance, looks like chalk. Almost like a solid piece of clay. But when we bite into it, could be pretty good. You guys go ahead and take a look at that beauty. First bite. It does kind of stick to the teeth, nowhere near as much as the RX bar. Initial flavor, when you first bite into it's pretty good. Longer you chew, the more you start to get into that chalky flavor. It's like the quality of what you're eating kind of deteriorates the longer you chew it. So if you take a bite and don't chew it completely and just swallow it, it's really good. As far as quality or how edible it is, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 6.5 out of 10. Only because it's not bad, it's just kind of chalky and a little grainy in the end, and fairly dry. As far as flavor goes, when you first start chewing, it starts off at maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10. Once you get towards the back end of it, you're looking at maybe more of like a 6 out of 10. Next, we have another variation of Clif Bar. This one's called the Builder's Protein Bar. So this one's got 20 grams of protein. The flavor is vanilla almond. Technically, since it's still a Clif Bar, we won't count it as its own bar. We'll count it as like a 0.5 to the other Clif Bar, or a 2.0. Here's that bad boy right there for you. First bite. Oh, that's hard. So off rip, extremely dry, extremely chalky, extremely thick, a lot of chewing, and like I said, pretty dry. The icing didn't really help with how dry it is. Definitely dry enough that when you take a bite, it's less of a bite and more of like snapping it off in your mouth. Not that great, I'm not gonna lie. As far as quality goes, I'm gonna say 5 out of 10. And for flavor, I'm gonna say 4 out of 10. Next, we got our MRE bar. Usually anything associated with MREs is disgusting, but this might be different. Flavor is banana nut bread. Cracker open. First bite. Pretty moist. Definitely didn't hold back with the amount of icing. As far as flavor goes, I'm gonna give it maybe a 6.5 out of 10. The intent was pretty good and it's not bad, but after a little while of chewing, it starts to go from banana nut bread to wrapper flavor. For quality, I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. Next, we got our Legendary Foods Protein Pastry. Now, this essentially is supposed to be a protein Pop-Tart. This is brown sugar cinnamon, which normally I love in Pop-Tarts. If you don't, you're weird. And for the record, Pop-Tarts cannot compete with Pillsbury toaster strudels. Not a chance, not even a little bit. And if you disagree, you're stupid. I think gluten-free is like you're allergic to glutes, right? You ain't got no butt. At a first glance, I'm not gonna lie, it looks insanely dry, but we're gonna find out if it really is. All right, first bite. Oh. Wow. A lot of chewing, give me a second. So, might just be the driest thing that I've ever put into my mouth ever. It's almost like you layered a bunch of crackers and then took a bite out of your cracker sandwich. Maybe I just need to get a bite out of where the icing is. I'm not gonna lie, that's gross. As far as flavor goes, I'm gonna have to give that maybe a 2 out of 10. It essentially just tastes like you're eating stale bread with a little bit of sugar and cinnamon sprinkled on it, and like a splash of cleaning chemicals. As far as quality goes, also gonna have to give it a 2 out of 10. It's almost like zero effort went into this. But luckily I purchased this and ate it, so you don't have to. Next, we got our Power Crunch Protein Energy Bar, strawberry cream. Go ahead and open this bad boy up. And it's actually a wafer. I'm not gonna lie, it smells really good. We're gonna go ahead and take our first bite. Oh my goodness, that's really good. I'm not gonna lie, if this had as much protein as some of the other supplements we've gone over, this would probably be my go-to protein bar. I'm probably actually gonna finish this one. As far as quality goes, it's very much a wafer, so it's everything you'd expect out of a wafer bar, and you definitely taste the strawberry cream. As far as quality goes, I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10. And as far as flavor goes, I'm also gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10. That's delicious. So essentially, if you love wafers anyway, this is a pretty good supplement to the normal wafers you get at the store as a little snack. That's probably not doing a whole lot for you nutritionally. And for some of you who are trying to sneak a little more protein in, but really can't stand the taste of your average protein bar, this is very different and a great way to supplement that. It really doesn't even taste like you're eating a protein supplement at all. Delicious. Last on the list, we have our One Bar. One is known to make some pretty good supplement protein bars. I'm much more familiar with this brand. The one that I usually get is the Lemon Cake One Bar, which is pretty good. I've never tasted this flavor before, so we're gonna see how it goes. The flavor is cinnamon roll, by the way. Made in Canada, look at that. Thank you, Canada. We're gonna go ahead and take our first bite. Definitely a lot of chewing. I can definitely smell and taste the cinnamon that they were going for. On the back end, that flavor kind of dies out. Turns into a little chalkiness. Nowhere near as bad as the Cliff Bar, but definitely a lot of chewing and a little dry. As far as quality goes, I'll probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. For flavor, I'm also gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. And an honorable mention, I'm only calling it an honorable mention because it's not here, would be the little Quaker Oats boxes of protein granola bars. And the only reason it's not here is because they don't usually sell those in individual servings, and I'm not about to buy a whole box of them. I've eaten enough of them to know that the flavor is pretty good. If you like granola bars, it'll definitely work out for you. They usually range from 9 to 10 grams of protein. And as far as calories goes, they're in the upwards 100s, lower 200s. And they're not bad, but you have to keep in consideration it's a granola bar, so they're typically pretty dry. Though they do have that lower layer of icing or chocolate that they throw in there to try to mitigate. I've had pretty much all of them. As far as quality goes, I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. As far as flavor goes, I'm gonna give it an 8 because despite all the chewing with it being granola and the fact that your jaw is probably gonna catch a cramp before you're done with the bar, they actually taste pretty good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you stayed this far, I appreciate you, and hopefully your pockets will appreciate me because now you don't have to spend a bunch of unnecessary money on protein supplements that are gonna suck and then you're gonna throw them away afterwards. So thank you, and you're welcome. Stay blessed, not stressed. That was kind of whack. We're working on it. Give me some time, I'll figure it out. I got it.